today we're going to do a haircut on Maria. So you all talked about this in class with Miss Salido, and we're cutting this one so that you guys can get ready for your advanced perming, okay, for amongst other reasons. I know you guys did hair cutting, and I'm not going to put my drape on today because so I can move it around and be able to manipulate it, okay? But normally you want to have your drape on with the Sanex, okay? So we're going to cut her, and I know you all have done haircuts in the past, but it's always nice to refresh and kind of be able to discuss and talk about different things. And not everybody cuts everything exactly the same, so hopefully you'll get a little something new from me this morning regarding a solid haircut. So after the solid haircut, we're gonna do the graduation haircut, and then we're just gonna move up from there. Okay, we'll do all of them. Okay, and then after this, then we'll have drills on them as well. Okay, any questions so far?
I'm sorry, Ms. Knowles, like you have two screens. So when I do switch it to the active user, because I'm using an iPad, like it goes to the blank screen where there is no image of you, just black. And when I try to see, like switch it to active speaker, it goes back to like blank. Like I cannot see you as a large screen. I see everybody else. So how do I switch that? Anybody knows?
So no, you should be able to go to her screen, her little box that she's in, and in the top right corner, there's 3 little dots. If you click on that, you can press pin video, and she will stay up as like the big picture.
When I press those dots, all I get was chat, meeting setting, minimize meeting, raise hand, disconnect audio. That's it. But now I see her on my screen as full. So maybe I don't know if iPad or computer causes issues.
Sometimes the iPads are a little bit funny. Like I couldn't pin myself on my phone. There was no pin option on my phone.
Yeah, there is no option in iPad either. Okay, now I can see you, so I'll just wait till it changes again. Because I want to see your full screen. Okay.
Yeah, fingers crossed it won't change on you.
I hope so.
Okay. Okay, so important thing you want to think about is your sectioning. Okay, so you always want to section. So for this haircut, we're going to part it straight down the center. So use her nose as a reference and go all the way down the back. And what's important about that is that you want to make sure that you are able to get it down the center. Okay, and this is kind of really important when we start working on people. You want to make sure that you can get it right down the center of their neck, because it's all about balance and weight. And if you don't have it off center, sometimes if you are a visual learner, you won't be able to get a good feel for what is center and what is balanced. Does that make sense? Because I know for myself that if it's not a center for me, I can get off because I'm more of a visual learner. I have to be able to see it. Okay. So we're going to take our first sections down. In our first sections, we want them our subpartings are going to be approximately a 1/2 inch. Okay. So this thing is killing me today. So you're going to take your hair, hold it, and give yourself 1/2 inch. Okay. If you hold the hair, you'll have an easier time sectioning. And so you just want to twist the hair up a couple of times so that you can see your line. Okay. And the reason I'm saying a couple of times, you don't want to spend too much time sectioning that hair out the way. And then you just want to balance. So you want to go on this side, and then you want to be able to see it. So you'll be able to see your section and match it up on the other side. Okay. And this hair is long, so sometimes it gets a little bit tricky. The hair starts to dry out. Go ahead, spray it. So when you're sectioning, you want to section with the wide teeth, okay? But then when it's time to comb it to really smooth and control the hair, you want to use the fine teeth. So you want to be able to practice flipping your comb back and forth, okay? Because you need both sides, okay? And if you just stick with just one side, or if you use just a small amount of the comb, you're not really using the comb to its benefit, okay? So once you get your first section going, grab your shears. I'm just going to move this just a little bit. And so we're going to make our first cut, okay? Try to make sure you keep your shears closed at all times. And how you do that is just by your ring finger. Keeping your ring finger closer to your palm is going to allow you to automatically keep your shears closed, okay? So I told Miss Alito I'd probably take off about 4 or 5 inches. I hate to take off too much because this is human hair, and human hair is hard to come by. People stop selling their hair or growing their hair for sale, and so it's a little bit difficult, okay? So you want to make sure that you respect this hair that we get, that you paid for, because it's sometime, I think at some point in our future, it's going to be far and few in between. Okay, so I'm going to just cut. So I'm going to cut between my fingers. And so I can manipulate and move my hair because I'm holding my fingers tight. Okay, so my elevation isn't changing. If you see, my elevation from the scalp is still flat, and I'm raising up. And the reason why I'm doing this is for ergonomics, like we just talked about. So instead of me bending over like this to cut the hair, I'm bringing the hair up to me, making sure that I'm still at a 0 elevation, okay? Because that's what this solid haircut is. So I bring it as far down as I can, make sure that I'm at 0, and then I pick up and cut. Okay, does that make sense? And I bring them together. Check it at 0. You want to check it the same place you cut it. Okay, and then we'll bring our next sections down. Okay. So sometimes people say, oh, you know, the solid haircut is so easy. You know, you just bring the hair down. What's the big deal? But there's a lot of little things that can go wrong if you're not careful. So what I mean by that is if you change your elevation, if you change the way that the hair is directed, you can a lot of times make mistakes, okay? And so what I mean by that is you want to use natural fall. So natural fall means the way that the hair grows out of the scalp is the way that you want to comb the hair down. So what I mean by that is it's easy to do natural fall here, but when you get to the top is where it's more difficult. So down here, the hair just kind of grows out of the scalp. It kind of goes down. That's how you're going to cut it. But as you get toward the top, you have to deal with a round circle, right? And the hair grows. If you look at the hair pattern on real people, the hair grows in a circle. That's where the whorls and things come from, right? So you have to make sure that you use natural fall when you section off the hair, okay? So now I'm going to take my next section, and now I'm going to cut so I can see my guide. So long as you can see your guide, go ahead and cut, okay? So I just go down, make sure that I'm good. Hair slid just a little bit, so we check this. So if you can hold all the hair between your fingers, go right ahead and hold the hair. If you need to section out the center, and what I mean by that is you can section out the center. Cut the center first, okay? And then split that in half and do your sides. Okay. You can always go back and check before you move forward. Okay. Any questions so far? So get that hair up and out the way as fast as you can. And I say that because you don't want to have to take too long dealing with the hair. Flick this hair, twist it once or twice, get it up out the way, okay? You want to spend your time cutting the hair versus trying to just control the hair, okay? But she can be a little bit tricky. And so you notice I always turn the head. Wherever you're cutting, you want to make sure that is facing you, okay? So there's my guide, still at 0 elevation, cut right to the guide. Don't cut over the guide because then you'll get shorter and shorter. Just cut right to the guide. Okay, make sure that you don't go past the second knuckle because you'll cut yourself in the middle of your finger. You don't want to do that. And you see I use this longer comb. You guys should have one longer comb. I like this comb for dense hair, thick hair, long hair, okay? Versus using your all-purpose comb. This one's gonna serve you better on Maria. So we're doing a square solid. That means I'm bringing my sides down slightly back. Okay. Okay, so now you're getting up above the ear. You're going to keep on going, but I want to say that because I always know that the back and the front of your haircut is always separated by your ear. Okay, so your ear designate front to back. Okay, so that's why it's important to, when you move forward to the front, that you always catch the front. Okay, and take a piece of the back with the front in order to continue on with the same line, okay, the same guideline. If you don't bring your guideline forward, you're going to have a hard time matching up front to back. And usually when people first start cutting hair, there's always a difference between the front and the back right here in this area by the ear. Okay, same with state board. They check ear to ear across this way, and they check in the front this way, because that's where usually people have problems with the transitions. Okay. So now this head is getting wider, so I have no other choice but to separate it out. So you can separate from the center and take half the hair. Make sure that you cut right in front of yourself so you see what you're doing and you don't over direct the hair too much. Or you can cut from the center first. I like to cut center first. I'm gonna take about 1 inch or 2 from each side of the center part. Comb that down. Find my guide, cut. Then take a piece from each side. Match it up. So when I say about the sides, you're going to direct back. It's just a slight direction back, and I'll show you on the other side that's closer to the camera. So this is about finger angle, right? Finger angle, and then how you cut, your design line. All of those things are going to make a difference. So so can you see here, this hair here has to travel a tiny bit further to reach the guide. And so what happens with that is it allows you to leave that hair just a tiny bit longer on the side. And that's where you're going to get your square from. Now, I'm not saying over direct all the way back to center. No, because then that would be an A line. Okay. That would be an A line. All I want is just for it to be square, maybe just slightly longer in the front. Okay. Cut my first section. And then I'm just going to slightly bring this back. And I leave my fingers want to be horizontal. Okay, so horizontal to the head, and I just aim this out. That makes that hair have to travel just a little bit further. Okay. And just always comb down, see if you see anything looks out of place. We got a long piece here that just didn't reach, and cut. Okay, come on this side. See if you see anything got out of place. Okay, and then bring your next section down. Okay, any questions so far? So sometimes as you get to the top of the head, the hair stops reaching. And it's just how it is. You know, it could be some previous layers in the hair, could be just, you know, the last haircut. There's a lot of different reasons why the hair may not reach your design line, okay? But don't worry about it, because it happens. It's gonna happen a lot in your career. Just know that if whatever doesn't reach, doesn't get cut, okay? And that seems really simple, but you'd be surprised how many people continue to cut their hair shorter and shorter and shorter because they feel like they don't understand why this hair isn't reaching and they must be doing something wrong. No, you're not doing anything wrong. The hair doesn't reach because it just doesn't reach. And if it doesn't reach your design line, that's just how it goes. Okay. kind of have to be okay with that. Okay, so then as we start to reach the round of the head, you want to make sure that you cut in a natural fall. So you want to always comb down and make sure that you see where the hair comes out the head when you comb down. Okay, so what I mean by that is you don't want to take this center and direct it over. You want to cut it at center, okay? Especially for a solid haircut, okay? You want everything to be a natural fall. So when they shake their head at the end and you see it just fall naturally over you can see your design line, okay? So as this hair goes up, I have less and less hair to cut. It's just how it goes. How it goes on people, how it goes on the doll. But you still have to go through the motions and cut. And then as you get the finer hair, go ahead and change, flip over, you'll have more control with your comb. You go to the fine teeth. Okay. Okay, so I know that this hair is getting thinner as we go up. I'm gonna go ahead and take this last section, bring it down. Try not to put your comb down while you're doing different things. The more you put your comb down, the longer it's going to take you to finish a haircut. You want to try and make sure that you practice not putting your comb down. Okay. So I'm starting the center. This will be my last section in the back. Try to do 0 elevation. Get to a point where the tripod kind of gets in the way, but do 0 as much as you possibly can. Watch your finger angle. Make sure you stay horizontal. Okay. So that's my back. So now we'll do the side. So remember we talked about taking some previously cut hair and some hair to be cut. So previously cut hair is in the back, hair to be cut in the front. Okay.
Miss Knowles,
Yes.
does it matter if we go like to the left or right side or no?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, doesn't matter. Okay, flip that hair, twist it once, flip it, get it out the way. Okay. And so now we're going to do the front. So you say, okay, well, how much do I need to have? So you need to have have enough previously cut hair so that you can see a good guide. Okay. So whatever that takes. Let me just move her just a tiny bit so I can get on the side. so you all can see too. So I'm just going to take, say, maybe a half an inch to an inch back. And you're just kind of doing this just by grabbing some of the hair, okay? You just want to grab some of the previously cut hair. And then you do that same thing, bring it down straight. Find your guide. So there's my guide there. Then I'm going to cut moving forward, okay? So make sure you take some previously cut hair, put some hair to be cut. So think about your finger angle. Make sure you stay horizontal. Make sure you see your guide and cut, okay? And bring your next section down. Next section down. Make sure you see your guide, cut.
How thick are our sections supposed to be again?
About a half an inch.
Okay.
If you feel like, you know, you can do a tiny bit more than a half an inch, that's fine. But the whole idea is making sure that you can see your previously cut hair, which would be your guide, okay? And so that's why half an inch is a good a starting point, okay? Sometimes when people do more, if the hair is really dense, if you do more than a half an inch, you're gonna end up not being able to see your guide through the hair. You must be able to see the guide through the hair. Okay, there's my guide. Be sure not to cut. Don't cut your guide, just cut to the guide. Okay, now you see this hair goes, the head rounds, so this hair goes forward. So if you don't direct this hair back a little bit, like I do, it's going to get short on you, okay? So you want to direct this back a little bit, okay, and then cut. Otherwise, when you go to blow dry it, like we're going to do afterwards, you're going to see that hair is shorter, okay? So direct back. And if you direct back too much, sometimes the hair stays a little bit longer, but better to be longer than too short, okay? Then you end up with like a hole right here, okay? Because you can always take a tiny bit of the hair off if you leave it a little bit too long. But once you, so if you look at the, I don't know if you can see that this, can you see the hair's too long? So if you look, you can see that this hair probably is slightly longer as you move forward toward the face, okay? But that is better than having a hole right there, okay? Because then you can always check this in at when you finish, okay? But if you take it away, you can't put it back, okay? Does that make sense? Now I'm gonna do this side. So I'm gonna take this, maybe I'm gonna take some previously cut hair, so hair from the back. Stay zero as you possibly can, so zero elevation. Take your guide from the back, move it to the front. Okay. I take that section in two so that I don't get too close to my inside my finger and cut myself. Okay. Nothing worse than cutting inside your finger there, because it bleeds and it's hard to heal because you have to move it so much. So if you can avoid cutting that, you'll be very, very happy. Okay. So find my guide, cut to the guide. Run out of water. So I barely have any hair to cut. That's okay. I'm still going to go through the motions. And don't forget to, as you move up, direct this hair back a tiny little bit so you don't get too short in the front. Okay, and this should be my last subsection. The hair is really fine. Okay. So make sure you're right in front. Find your guide. Cut to the guide. Make sure you direct that hair in the front, because remember this hair goes forward and goes down lower. So if you don't direct it back, it's going to get shorter on you. And you don't want that front shorter when you're doing a square solid. Okay, you need that corner. With squares, you gotta have corners, right? Okay, so then check your front, see how well you did. So check in the front, see how you did. Line them up side to side. Sometimes you can go, you can visually check and see how well you did from side to side. Okay. You can comb this down forward, see how it blends. So you'll kind of be going, you don't want to bring too much hair forward. Maybe like where the bang kind of stops, and see how well you did. This. Check your guide. A little bit fine here. Make sure you get enough hair to check from side to side. Got a knot in here. So every once in a while, you might have a little bit of a corner here. What? And so if you do, you're just gonna take it, bring it down. Don't take too much, because sometimes we overthink things, but this is just because of the way you directed the hair back. You might have a little bit extra right here in the front. But if you take too much, you'll end up with a hole here. So you don't want that either. So just gently bring it forward and cut, okay? And when in doubt, just leave it, okay? And so this is gonna make it easier for you to, and then if you do cut something from the front, make sure that it's still balanced on the side, because sometimes you cut in the front and then you make it too short for the sides. So you don't want that to happen either. So then use your fingers to direct that, okay? That makes sense? And so now you're going to, after you do your haircut, you're going to use your paddle brush, or what we could get close to a paddle brush and still be in compliance with state board. You're gonna get, it's that vented brush, right? It has a little bit of a wider bed on it, and that's what you're going to use to blow dry this hair, okay? That makes sense? Okay, so we want to see your haircuts first, and then we will watch then we'll see your blow dry. And then I want you to think about when you're blow drying it, I want you to watch as it goes through the brush and see if it looks even as it goes through the brush. That makes sense? Okay, and then if you need to, you can go back and re-wet a little bit or check it. But I don't want you to go too crazy with it dry, not yet, okay? I want you to think about cutting it wet and then blow drying it, okay? And then seeing what you have, okay? Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, everybody has that paddle brush in order to use that for this haircut, and then she'll be ready for your specialty perms, which are coming up soon, which are always fun. Okay, any questions about solid square? Okay, what time is it?
Miss Knowles, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I guess I just had a hard time seeing like how much you're directing those front pieces back, because when we first learned this, we did it like really square where we pulled it all the way back, or we did it super round where we're standing right in front and you're kind of like in the middle.
Exactly right. I am in the middle. So, and the reason is because if you want to do an A-line, you would, the same premise, if you look online, you find somebody how to cut an A-line, you can either use finger angle to create your design line to go to do an A-line, or you direct this hair back. And so if you direct this hair all the way back to center, that will create an A-line for you. And so I'm not looking to create an A-line. I'm looking to create just nice straight across, maybe just ever so slightly in the front, just so that I don't lose my square.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So the thing is that I could tell you, I want you to direct back 35 degrees, right? Would that help you? I don't know. So I think you just kind of have to direct it back maybe around the ear area.
Okay, yeah, that helps.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
And it's all about feeling. Haircuts are feeling. There's going to be half the haircut that you do is going to be about